Hey folks, Mike here with a super quick review of Opus Magnum. So last week, assuming this video comes out in time of course, you watched me, give my opinions and whatnot, give some impressions on this game. By the time you actually got to watch that video, I've already put the 16 hours into it to complete it. And yeah, it's a pretty good game. So to do a quick recap here, it's a Zachtronics puzzle game. If you know what that means, then you probably already own it. If not, well, the point of this game, there's a couple mechanics you need to learn. We can fuse quicksilver with base metals to get the next level up, which is what this chain is on the right. And so in this case, we want to turn lead to gold, which is exactly what we're doing, right? Each step of the way, I'm telling these arm number 1 to pick up, turn right, and drop. Whereas arm number 2 is picking up and just waiting every step of the way. So until, of course, we get gold, which I tell it to turn and drop, and then we loop back at the beginning. So you do that a bunch of times. The game determines, hey, you've done whatever amount of cycles. It works, and it gives you your completion. So now that I've completed the game, this game does have quite a bit of replayability if you care about leaderboards. So since I've beaten the game, I get the option to display top percentile. So now instead of just looking at the bar graph, I know that, hey, 62 is kind of the target I want to go for if I want to build the fastest machine, or 40 if I want to build the cheapest, or 6 in terms of tiles used. So it depends what you want to go for, hence why there's multiple solutions that the game gives you. And yeah, it's a really nice thing. Of course, every mission has some story prefacing why you're doing it. It's kind of entertaining. And just as another quick recap here of how the game works. In this case here, we're going to fuse stuff together, or bond things together to get our products. So in this case, we're clarifying a base element, which gives us the neutral salt, and we could also take the salts and get the tambours, up and down as I tend to call them. And yeah, that's kind of all you're dealing with. You're either bonding, breaking bonds, clarifying. Later on, you get to destroy certain things, which is potentially useful. And yeah, the game just ramps up very gradually, very nicely. They introduce new things here and there. Each of the missions get more and more difficult. There's quite a few different missions, right? The papers and the books are kind of all more story-based things. So these 4, these 2, and this one's all the missions involved as you work your way through the game. And like I said, I've completed the story, and what you get at the end here is the challenge missions, which, well, yeah, they're really challenging, because the game actually reminds you to use WSAD to rotate stuff, because it'll be really difficult to do it. If the keys look weird here, same with the bottom left. This is still QWERTY, ASDF, ZXTV. This is in Dvoraklet, which is what I use. So I'm still pressing the same keys, QWERTY, ASDF, and whatever. It's just those keys are actually different on the keyboard. So yeah. Now imagine, that's the thing with this game. Your play field is of a limited size. So even if you're not particularly great at the puzzle games, you have as much room as you want to work with to get a solution. So it may be a really long and inefficient solution, but you can still complete it. And so the game doesn't really punish you in that sense. However, when you get to the end levels here, if you are not particularly good at the game, then this is where, yes, you've completed the game, and yes, you've probably finished playing, because these challenge missions are going to be extremely difficult. So for instance, I need to do all of these bonds. Now the thing is, I can grab something, bond it, and then rotate it, so I can get the next angle and the next angle, right? So I don't have to necessarily place a lot of these bonding pads to make the whole shape. I can go away with one bonding pad and just use, you know, clever use of an arm. So I can use like one of these arms that can also extend and rotate. So I can get this shape with a single arm. So for instance here I have two arms, getting me to silver, I believe. Is it iron to silver? Yeah, iron, copper, silver. Also, another thing, I could put two of the same to get the next one up. Right, there's all sorts of different tools you get depending on the mission. So if we look at one of these other ones, not too difficult, right? You can get away with one of these triples and kind of throw everything in here and get it working that way. So this one's not too bad. I can see it as being possible. However, I don't know what to do with the neutral salt. Oh, I suppose... Okay, yeah. I suppose I drop the salt here. I split them. Yeah, I think that's what I would do then. You break the bond. Drop the salt and the earth. Is it earth? Yeah. Drop the salt and the earth. So we imbue the salt with the earth power. So I get two earths and then I can go about it that way. The tricky part is I have an uneven amount to make this, so I have to float one of these somehow for the next puzzle. So that's where the challenge really comes in. What about this one? 3 products. Yeah, so I basically got to split this, imbue it once for that one, and build 2 different, basically mirror each other in this small space. With these are teleporters, so you can work one way to the other. And the last of the ones I have available is I have a disposal one, which takes a lot of room, and that is because I get my down and my up arrows, so I have to destroy the up ones, or else they just pile up somewhere, and you can't just leave things lying around with the game. Anyways, that's about it. I can end on a quick note here and show you this this mini game. As the last few Zachtronics games seem to have, they seem to throw in mini games here. Ooh. Try to see. This one should be possible. If I do that, and I want to free up. I think I want to free up this one. Darn. I would have had to free up that. Let's do another one. That one might be impossible because of that one mistake. So let's do this. Okay, I don't have much of a choice here. So next one. Okay. I do that, yeah. This, this, that. Got one up there. But the idea is you want to clear the board. So these neutral salts can clear out one element. The problem is you got 4 of them, and since you have to clear the board, you'll then need to use the other. You'll need to use a pair of neutral salts to clear the element. So you have to be careful with that. Oh, I can't free up that one. Oh, freed up this one though. So I tend to try and use the neutral salts on themselves, so I don't run into that problem. It's a little annoying, but you get used to it. Cool. So yeah, the strategy is pretty simple. You have the metals get cleared out by these guys. The quicksilvers clear out the metals, and the elements all clear out themselves. So my strategy is always to find out where they all are and see where the quicksilvers are. So I know I can clear out these two right away, because that's usually where I get caught up on. I don't get caught up on too many of the other elements. So for instance, now I'm looking at, I can't do a move, so I have to use a quicksilver on a color. I'm trying to decide which one would be best, because if I use it on this one here, then I can clear out. If I use on this one here, I can still clear them out, so it doesn't seem to matter much. So I'm looking down here. Yeah, go with that one. Clear out these. Oh, that was potentially a mistake there. I actually wanted to get rid of that one. I think we're still okay. We're still okay because I can do this, do that. What are my last two? Okay, I'm going to use quicksilver on him. Don't have much of a choice. I just screwed myself, didn't I? I have to do that move. Trying to be a bit cautious here. Yeah. I need to get rid of that one, but if I do it, I have to do that move to keep the remaining pairs. Unfortunately, I can't do anything here. Unfortunately, I can't clear them. So that's kind of the idea. I don't know if this will be available as a separate game. I quite like it though. It does give you a nice change of pace from the regular old puzzles. Not saying this thing is worth the money on its own, this little puzzle game, but it certainly does give you a nice little bonus extra. There's not a whole lot I can do here, other than just a lot of bad moves. Yeah, can't win that one. Anyways, that is Opus Magnum. It's a pretty good game. Like I said, 16 hours or so. It's probably a good hour, maybe two in there where, you know, I was busy playing this while watching other stuff. The game has a bunch of tutorials as well, which explain everything. I found all the puzzles came to me very quickly. There's only one or two that I kind of had to restart from the beginning. But other than that, I could have still made those particular ones work, but I tend to focus a lot on getting the efficient solutions out really quickly. So I found myself with, yeah, quite a few of my solutions winding up, you know, my first solutions winding up on the left side of the cycle scale for a lot of them. Yeah, occasionally in the middle, occasionally on the right as well. Yeah. Then again, sometimes I just wanted to solve a certain puzzle, and I didn't really care too much. Oh, this one I did it twice. So that's nice to see. Anyways, yeah, it's a really good game. Like I said, the Zachtronics games, other than the fact that he also has like the programming ones, he's got two kinds of puzzle games, I suppose. but they're both really good, so I definitely would recommend them. The only thing is, I will caution, if you do play this, really like it, some of the older games can be a little bit difficult to go to. On the flip side, if you played some of the older ones like Space Chem, for instance, this feels a lot better. It's a lot nicer to play. It feels a bit less abstract in a sense, a little bit less hacky here and there for solutions, but this one actually works out really, really well. Infinity Factory as well is another really good game from him. If you're into these style games, and Infinity Factory full 3D and still plays really well, so there is that. But I like the freedom. I like the idea that, you know, these missions, these levels are really big and open, so you can really sit there and come up with some really clever solutions. Whereas most of the other games were, you know, restricted in a small square, or you can just build anywhere. So this one finds a nice middle ground, and it's probably the most accessible out of all of them because of that. And yeah, there's some super cool solutions out there. I've been pretty proud about some of the ones I've come up with, and of course having the percentile means that I can go back and play a lot if I did not have such a huge backlog of Steam games. But that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.